Hey, ladies, how's it going?
Fantastic.
Going good.
Good. Welcome to Coffee with the Cowgirls. I'm Brett Kruger.
I'm Remy
This
Greer.
is our 20th. This is our 20th episode, Remy.
It's
20.
technically our 21st because we did one episode where we introduced why we were doing it. So, yeah.
Oh, yes, true.
It's like our
It's a
20th real
milestone.
episode. Yeah.
Either way, it is a milestone.
It is.
And in honor of the milestone, we decided to do something different. And the difference is we invited a guest. And today we actually have Christine Walters, who is not only Remy's best friend, she's in many ways a lot like us. She's a mom, she's a wife, she's an entrepreneur. Right, Christine?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Running my own thing over here.
And she's a cowgirl. And much like us, she's got a lot of irons in the fire, lots going on, like all of us. I don't know any woman who could say that they don't have a lot of irons in the fire, especially the time of the year that we're coming up on, because holy crap, it's Thanksgiving already next week.
It is. We are getting and honestly, this episode was supposed to have a different guest, and in true life fashion, it didn't work out. And I gave Christine 15 minutes to get ready for this. So welcome, Christine.
Luckily, like me, I work weird hours, and so here I am sitting at my computer working. She happened to just catch me right at the right time. So I'm like, let's do it.
Well, that's how we
forced her
roll
into
too.
it, just like I forced her into being friends with me.
Whatever.
That's me.
Well, thank you for last minute filling a very important role for us. And I think that this is going to work out even better because what you've got going on in your life is a lot right now. But before we go into that, I just want you to introduce yourself to the guests, Christine. So I'll hand it over to you.
I'm Christine Walters. I am the best friend that Remy talks about quite often. I've listened to every episode with you guys so far, and I just love it. I look forward to it every week. So I'm actually excited to be here with you all. I do insurance full time. That is my job, my means of making money. I'm a mom, though. I guess that comes first. So I try to juggle everything, together. We are in the process of making a pretty big move to Texas. So we're in, listing our homes, getting some properties sold, packing. I know Remy's not happy about that. So yeah, there's a lot going on, but I'm happy to be here with you guys today.
And insurance is not just her job. She is very good at it, and she likes to help people. So it's not just her means of making money. She is passionate about helping people.
I am. It's kind of boring though, so we don't try to talk about it too much because it's not really that exciting. But I do actually really love what I do. I love helping people. I love educating people. I think that's always the key there is the education and making sure they understand what they're purchasing and the importance of it. So
Christine, did you start that business by yourself?
In a kind of. I have actually a friend. Well, we become friends now. It was acquaintance at the time. She ropes, and we met through the horses. I actually sold their family a pony, and she did title insurance and wanted to get into property and casualty insurance, and so we essentially partnered. She opened the agency. I went to work for her. The agency I was at before, I was kind of looking to make a change, and we just really hit it off. We're both Libras, so our birthdays are literally like 5 days apart. So we got along from day one, and so it was her and I. We started it from scratch. And I was in the office working. She did title on the side, and then she just filtered leads my way. I sold them, but it was her and I together for a couple years. We finally, we're so excited when the agency was making enough money that we were able to hire a receptionist / admin type person, and we've grown it from scratch. So we're going into our 12th year.
Wow.
And she has when I got pregnant with my first daughter, she's got 4 kids of her own. So she understands the whole like mom trying to work and kind of juggle just life. And she said, if you want to work remote, you can work remote. Like we will make it work. So I actually started working remotely before COVID ever was a thing. And it's kind of nice now because everybody works from home essentially. I mean, a lot of people, everybody's kind of gotten used to that. So I can talk about it now. It's not such a secret. Before I'd have to make sure there was no noise in the background and pretend like I was in the office. But yeah, so we now have, I think there's like, I don't know, 10 or 11. We've got like maybe 10 service people.
Speaking of noise in the background, I have to go wrangle my children.
We have a bunch of agents that work with us, and so it's great. And it's a pretty I would say medium-sized agency. She's opened a division up in Montana. She's up in Montana most of the time. She has a home down here, so she kind of splits her time between both states. And we've got one agent that lives in Arizona and works from there. So we're looking to open an Arizona division. I'm making the move to Texas, and so we're going to try to get like a little Texas division going. So we've kind of got people all over, but we've got really good people that work for us, and just a lot of just hustle, people like to hustle, like like you guys. So it's worked out really well.
We were talking right before we got on, Christine and I were, and Christine, the equine insurance is a big part of your business, and she insures a lot of the people that Remy and I both know. And well, I found that interesting because my best friend is into insurance too, and she handles all of our stuff in Minnesota, but she's not licensed in Arizona. So good to have the connection here for that.
And where can they find information about your insurance company?
Yeah, what is it called?
It's Winchester and Associates Insurance Services, www.quote2win.com. It's all spelled out. So you can also check me out on Facebook. We've got links on there. But we're in the process of revamping our website, so I'll be putting that out soon.
Awesome. So a pretty big move for you guys, and it's happening extremely fast.
It is probably maybe faster than I like, but it's okay. It's all, I just say kind of God has a plan, and we'll just follow his timing with it all. So it kind of, we'll see what happens with it.
But don't buy her house because it's haunted. Really ugly. And you should not buy her house. It's not. It's very cute. She remodeled everything. It is a very nice place. I just
don't want her to leave.
I don't want her to leave me.
Yeah. When do you guys make the move, Christine?
We listed our place. We just did an open house. We're actually flying out Friday to Texas. We're going to be out there for about 4 days and drive around and try to look at as many properties as we can and try to basically locate a home and then hope that we get an offer on our place. So it could be as soon as the first of the year. We need to be out there, I think, by the end of March was the time frame that we had for my husband's job.
Right. Well, Remy and I, how we roll is like so seat of our pants, and we kind of pick our topics off of things that are happening in our lives. And I'm like, she texted me about 10 minutes ago and she's like, Christine's gonna come on with us. I'm like, awesome. She's like, I think that we should talk about this. I'm like, I think that we should talk about not losing your shit, or understand, like, I don't even know if not losing your shit, because it's so hard, but there's just so many irons in the fire. I've been feeling like this lately. I know you have too, Remy. It's like so many irons in the fire. It feels like there's so many loose ends. I've got lists strewn all over. I'm losing the list. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my sanity and everything.
It happens.
So
Christine is a much better planner than me, just in general. She is way more organized than I am. It is part of the reason
why she's an insurance agent, Remy.
I mean, it's also part of the reason that our friendship works, because I'm like, we should do this, and she's like, okay, I'll figure that out. I'm like, great, you do that.
So I'm a planner, just in my head. I mean, I always have like things in my head, and I've got my my thick calendars here. This is like my Bible. It has everything in here that I need to survive my days. So
are you good with calendars, Remy?
I mean, I have a lot of them.
I know, me too.
I mean, but I've known Christine for a long time, and so she and my husband are much more of a similar personality, which is probably also why we are very good friends, because I apparently attract those personalities to me. But I print out a lot of calendars for James, and I have a plan, and it never seems to work out. So I just adapt and move on. But I mean, I have a lot of calendars. I just
don't use them. Me too. Me too. I love having them. It makes me feel super organized.
I have I got all the planners, I got all the pens, I got all the stickers, I have everything. And I have the best intentions.
I was just gonna say. So how for you, because I'm in the middle of moving for the winter, and I felt like I was so organized. I didn't feel like I had much to do. And we leave on Wednesday, and it is Monday night, and I'm like, shit, I got a lot to do tomorrow. So how do you, I don't know, how are you handling all the irons in the fire with all of this? Because you've got the kids too to figure out school. I mean, it's just not you and your husband. There's so many other things.
Luckily, my kids are still little. So I've got a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
Hi, the best.
Making noise at my door. Hang on just a second.
You're good.
Okay, I'm gonna move.
How old are your kids?
They're 2 and 5. Everly just turned 5, so
they're little yet.
And they're like, her oldest one is like the girliest girl, and I love it. But her other one is like my little one, who is hell on wheels, and she's awesome. So I mean, I love them both.
Yeah, so they're 2.5 and 5. Everly just turned 5, so they're in preschool 3 days a week. That's part of the reason why I'm able to kind of work too, is that I get my stuff done when they're at school. But yeah, so there's been like a process with this whole moving and listing our home. And obviously when we went to go take all the photos of our home to get it listed, you kind of have to like put everything away. So I just took that opportunity to kind of pack up a lot of stuff that we don't use on a regular basis. So our garage is filled to the brim with boxes, like ready to go. So I actually told my husband, I was like, this isn't too bad. It might not be too bad, like when we actually have to pack up and leave, because we've been at this now for, I think everybody laughs at me because I'm always selling things on Facebook Marketplace. And, they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, we have a lot of stuff. I mean, when you live somewhere we've been here for 10 years now, 10, 11 years. It's like, you just accumulate a lot. When you have acreage, you accumulate even more because you have room to keep things. So we've been, I would say over the last like 3-4 months, just been selling and throwing away,
downsizing,
going through everything. So that part, to me, I'm a planner, so I kind of need to like do everything in steps, and so that kind of keeps me sane through the whole process. But yeah, we're just kind of going like one by one. We had a place up in the mountains that we had to list and sell, and luckily we just sold that fully furnished, so that I didn't have to worry about packing that and bringing that down. So
I will do it for you,
we're just trying to make it easy, but at the same time, it gets a little. I try not to think about it too much because it will stress me out.
So you also have livestock as well, or horses, right?
Yeah, we have horses on our property. We have a couple acres down here, and that's been kind of a process too. So this whole thing, I had some old ones that we had to go ahead and let go. This year we put them down. It was just time, and I didn't want them to have to make the haul, and so there's just been kind of this long progression. I would say maybe over the last 6 months, just kind of this progression, knowing what we were going to do and kind of just trying to get there. But yeah, we have horses on our property, and I honestly not riding or competing. And Remy's always like, when are you going to come out, Christine? As much as I would like, because we've been so busy, and that starts to bum me out, because that's kind of, I would say, my happy place. I love it, and it's just we have not been able to ride or compete very much at all. So
I think it's harder. Well, Remy, it's your full-time job, so it's different, but a little different. When your kids are little, I feel like it's harder when you work corporate. It's just so hard to keep all of the balls in the air with the littles and the job.
Yeah. And the other thing is Christine's mom works a lot too. Like I'm super lucky, right? My mom's always been able to step in and do stuff for me. And Christine's mom helps her too, but it's not the same. It helps
me a bunch. I mean, I would say that's my other way that I'm able to kind of keep just everything going, is there's afternoons where I'm just like, Mom, can you just take the kids for a couple hours? I just have to knock out some work. And luckily I'm a super like efficient worker, so I can get a lot done. I mean, I probably get done what a person gets done in 8 hours. I can get done in like 5. So I think that's the other thing that's kind of just made this work. I'm just kind of one of those people, like I'll put my head down and work if I don't have any distractions. I do start super early in the morning too, so I can kind of knock out a bunch of stuff really early before the kids are awake. But yeah, I figured out ways to make it work. It wasn't always this easy. It's been a process, just trying to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. And there's days where I feel like I've gotten nothing done, like we all do. And then there's days where I'm like super, I get a ton done. I'm like, this was a good day. I knocked out a bunch. So it just depends on what's going on that day. But I just kind of take it as it comes and it'll all work itself out.
Well, I bow down to you. I'm like insanely jealous. I'm guessing that Remy and I's packing skills is a lot alike. It's just shove it in a box and throw it in the trailer, right?
I travel light. See, you like to travel with things. I travel so light.
I do like my things.
Yeah, I don't need a lot of things.
Remy's easy. She's not high maintenance at all. So it's like,
I'm not really high maintenance either, but I like
she comes and literally she has like one little suitcase and like she's just like, I'm good. Like this is all I need. And we've gone to shows together, just her and I, and I'm like, here I come with 2 suitcases and
Yeah, like we went to the truck sort the year after I won it. We had a girls' weekend away. And it was the same thing. Like I came with a tiny little cinched duffel bag and she's like, that's all you have? I'm like, yeah, what else do I need? And I had my shampoo because Christine didn't have shampoo with her. Clayton, baby.
Is he like, or is she like, what could you possibly have in there? Do you have everything when they shrink? What is that called?
Oh, the shrink, the vacuum seal. Yeah.
Vacuum sealed your clothes.
I've always traveled light. I think it's because I can fit all of my makeup into like a tiny bag. I don't do my hair. I don't really do my makeup either, but I travel with like mascara and sunblock.
Oh, funny.
And I don't wear a lot of clothes. I don't travel with a lot. So I just have less. I have less things is what it is. It's not like I'm that good of a planner. I just have less things. But
well, thankfully you do know people in Texas, so it won't be totally starting from scratch, right, Christine?
Yeah, exactly. At least the, I guess, horse part of it, the competing part of it, we'll fit into that just fine. But
she's just gonna fly to California for shows. I'm just gonna keep her mares hostage here, and then she has to go.
I'm gonna be in California more than Remy thinks. I already know I'm gonna have to fly back. I have clients that like to meet in person, so I'm just gonna have to kind of schedule them. I have 2 daughters that absolutely love their grandmother. So that's already going to be super hard. And I've already told my mom, I'm like, I will be out here more than you think, visiting. So
James said he would fly Dustin home just to fly him home.
Probably because he needs something fixed or done at the ranch.
It is a little hard. I can totally see where Remy's coming from with the bittersweetness of it all, because change in friends, especially when you're used to like your routine together or seeing each other often or whatever, it's hard. We're kind of going through that right now too. It's a little weird, but I come back, so
we don't see each other that often. I think we do. I mean, I go to their jackpots. Typically I go to their jackpots once a month that we have, or I might hit a practice here or there. We went to dinner last night because I was like, Remy, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, so we should probably go to dinner. And then but again, it's like very last minute. Like she calls me, hey, we're driving to dinner right now. What are you guys doing? I'm like, well, we were just talking about what we were going to have for dinner, so I guess we'll go meet you up there.
I came right by your house. I drove right by you to get there.
There's no planning. I can't call her in the morning and say, let's go to dinner tonight. She's like, well, I don't know. I just have to see how the day goes. So
that's how I am as well.
Christine forgives me for being super flaky. Not on purpose, but
I don't think you're flaky because you don't. To me, flaky is
just part of our genetic makeup.
Yeah.
I always have something else to do. Like I'm always like, I got really good plans, and then
you don't commit. I mean, it's not like you're committing and then blowing me off. So that's
I'm the same. I have a hard time with commitments.
Yeah. So it works.
But everybody knows it. So when everybody knows it, I feel like it's okay then, right? It's okay.
Just own it. I mean, even if it's not okay, you can't change it anyway.
Yeah. No, it's who I am. Everybody knows that. is who you are. She knows that. Well, yes, it's amazing. I think that all of the women who can do all of the things, be the moms, be the entrepreneurs, and put it all together and take on a task like moving how many states away. It's kind of a big deal. And you sound like you're doing it with grace. I, on the other hand, am not. Before we got on, I think that I purchased a $29 Vizio remote app for my son because I just was like, if that's what you need, Bronson, let's just get that because I just need you out of here for right now.
So, yeah, I've known Christine for a long time. So Christine has seen a lot of different versions of myself. And
You've probably seen a lot of different versions of
me. And I've seen a lot of different versions of Christine. Yeah. And something that we talk about a lot is how friendships change and grow and how relationships change and grow over time. Not just because you get older. Part of it is because you get older, but it's also how your life changes. And for me, it's been really important to have my friendship with Christine, but we were really tight for a long time. And then we weren't tight at all for a while. So
we had a falling out for a short period. I mean, I wouldn't say it was that long.
No, well, especially now, like in the time continuum, it's really not that long.
Not that long. But I mean, to the point to where we actually did not go to each other's weddings. So it was kind of that type of falling out. Yeah. Yep.
And then you guys, that's crazy that you were able to come back and build that friendship again.
And better than before.
Mm-hmm.
That's because you guys went through a big deal together, obviously. So
yeah, we
had better than before.
And I think it's the same thing. You have to grow up and figure out who's important to you. So we both apologized for really, when you look back on them, very dumb things. But when you're younger, they're really important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And
which was really big of you, Remy, because last week, Remy's favorite comment that she made for me was, I mean, I don't really like to fight, but I don't really like to back down either.
And Christine and I are strong in a lot of similar ways, but in different ways too. And then I think that it's very important when you like grow up with female friendships. Never meant that much to me. I've talked about it on here. I just didn't care. I didn't need women in my life. I didn't care. Christine was very similar in the same way. She didn't need women.
Mm-hmm.
And then you reach a certain part in your life and you start to realize that maybe you do. And I realized that long before I went through all of the bad things I went through. But, you know, I was very lucky to have Christine through all of that. And
it makes it the same for me too. I mean, Remy's the one that kind of caught I had postpartum depression really bad after my first daughter. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything. And she kind of caught it, I think, right away and just kind of knew that something's not right. And I think he had pointed it out to Dustin, my husband. And then I think he had talked to my mom about it. So we got through it, but it was just kind of one of those things, like you just don't know what's happening when when you're in it. And Everly, stop, please. And so, yeah, I mean, that to me was just kind of huge, just having somebody there in my corner that could see that things were not right. And so, we were able to get through it. And then I knew what to look for on my second child, and didn't really have it as bad. But yeah, I mean, there's just you just go through things, and we kind of know each other and know when things aren't right, I think.
That is crazy about the postpartum, because that same thing happened to me, Christine, with I knew something was wrong too, but I didn't know what. And it took a friend to be the one to tell me, like, I think that you should go to the doctor. And she was right. And it's crazy. Well, when you've never been through it before, how would you know?
I'm not smiling at you. I'm laughing at her daughter in the back.
I know. I'm gonna go get a juice, Everly. Go get one, and I'll open it for you.
Also, another side note, we are recording this in the evening, unlike in the morning. So all our children are at their homes right now.
Yes, that's the reason that everything, I feel like I'm half, like, it's just different feeling than in the morning. The morning feels so much more refreshing to me, I feel like.
I am drinking iced coffee right now
I've
instead of
seen
hot
it.
coffee.
I was going to mention that. I love it. I love it.
I have my water from a Starbucks cup, so we can pretend.
Christine doesn't really drink Starbucks. She's anti-Starbucks.
Do you
Dustin
drink
drinks
coffee,
Starbucks
Christine?
with me. So.
I drink coffee. Yeah, I'm a big coffee drinker, but I just like to make my own at home. So I'm just kind of.
Christine likes to say, no. Christine also likes to save money. And she laughs at me because I talk to probably Breck and Christine more than anyone on the phone. And they are almost always part of my Starbucks order. So they all like to save money and I don't. It's,
Remy loves her coffee and water from Starbucks, and I think it's absolutely hilarious because I've never seen somebody do that before.
If they're going to charge me that much for coffee, I am going to get free things from them.
And I just won't pay that much for coffee. So I actually just don't like it that much. I don't know. It's just me.
I love it. I love it. Isn't it crazy to think that Christmas is like literally how many weekends away? How many weekends are we talking here? 5?
I got to get through Thanksgiving first. I am not thinking about Christmas, although I did decorate my house for Christmas, or part of my house, some of my house.
I can't think of any of it right now. I'm like, people are talking about buying presents, and somebody told me that they were already done. And I was like,
I'm buying her girls.
Are you, Christine? You're an organized person. Are you done Christmas shopping?
No, I don't start any of that until it's got to be December. I'm not one of those and I'm not like a Black Friday shopper. I won't go stand in line for hours. Try to do as much online as I did. So yeah, I'm just not that dedicated to it. But and there's been times where we get the tree the week before. And there's been times where I've had it at the beginning of December. So we'll see how the timing goes with everything. But yeah, I'm not sure yet. I haven't pulled anything out of the garage. It's probably all buried in there somewhere behind all my boxes.
So I have a very funny story to tell you and you'll appreciate this because I am a cheap person as well, Christine, with certain things. And we're
going to say frugal because cheap sounds bad. We're going to say
You're
frugal.
Right. Okay. I'm a very frugal person. So anyhow, when our very first Christmas in Arizona, which would have been 2 years ago, that was when we were kind of flying back and forth and Brandon was there. I get down there for Christmas and we didn't have a tree. And I'm like, well, I feel like we should get a tree. I love Christmas. And so we go to Home Depot to buy a tree and it was like a lot of money. I feel like they wanted like $200+ for their real Christmas trees. The week of Christmas, I couldn't do it. I'm like, Brandon, I said, I don't think that we should do this. And he's like, I don't think we should do this either. And the fake ones were just as bad. I'm like, I don't want a fake Christmas tree real bad. I really kind of want the real thing. And he's like, how about we buy a tree that we can actually plant? We're from the Midwest. We should have never done that. We bought the tree, the real tree to plant. Do you know how many days I kept it alive? I'm pretty sure it didn't see Christmas. You can't keep things alive in the desert. The soil is so dry. There is no amount of water that's going to keep that living unless it's a cactus. So I learned my lesson with that.
You should have bought a Christmas cactus is what you should have done.
Yep.
I did that too.
Or a tumbleweed. You could have made a tumbleweed tree.
I could have.
You got to get more crafty, man.
I'm going to. I've been scoping out Pinterest.
That's right. I have a lot of things pinned on Pinterest. I don't make any of them. And I'm crafty and I still don't make any of them.
Yeah. That's where things go to die for me.
Me too.
Lots of cute ideas that'll never get done.
I was Christine's daughter wanted to be a bride for Halloween and they were at the Halloween store and she's like, Remy can make this for you much better than you can buy it.
Yes. If she has time. We don't know if it'll be done, but she might start it.
I would have gotten it done for Halloween for Everly. I wouldn't have messed that up.
I feel like you could have went to Goodwill and got something out of Goodwill, right?
You and Goodwill, man. I think that's Midwestern too, because it's creepy out here.
We're Amazon. We're big on Amazon. You can get things cheap it all comes from China. We can get it. Not a lot of money. So
I got a whole new wardrobe today for my trip. So
from Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Remy's got a work trip this week. I'm leaving. Remy's leaving for her work trip tomorrow. I'm leaving on Wednesday.
Christine's
So,
leaving on Friday to leave me for forever.
oh, you're leaving this week, Christine.
No,
She's just going to look at places this week.
Oh, I was like, I thought you said March.
Yes, but we're leaving. We're flying to Texas on Friday. We'll be there Friday to Monday. So,
Well, I get to drive, so you guys are incredibly lucky that you get to do it by air.
I think I'd almost rather drive, honestly.
yeah.
Christine and I also, when you were gone on your lake vacation, Christine and I did the short Facebook Live, and they were asking about like, what are some of your favorite memories? And one of mine is traveling with Christine, because we used to drive a lot together. And Christine and I both drive so fast, and James doesn't. And we had to be home from Reno to put on a roping the next morning. And Christine is like, we got stopped in Donner Pass, right? That's where we got stopped.
Remember
there's
Donner Pass,
because we left in plenty of time. So there's a big wreck. And so like Christine's flying down the grapevine, like she's going like 85, 90, and we have a fully loaded trailer behind us. And James like pops up, and I like shoved him down in the back seat, and I was like, "Don't look away! Don't look!" We got there on time.
Put your seatbelt on, James.
I think though, prior to that, I had spent a lot of hours on the road. I worked for Tim Smith, for a cutting horse trainer, and so we were on the road a lot. So I was used to pulling a rig, and for me, I don't think I would do that today. Like I don't drive like that anymore, and I don't pull a rig enough anymore to even like think that I can drive like that. But at that point in my life, I was like, yeah, going 80 down the road, like it was no big deal.
And I think we had the living quarters too. Like I think we had the big rig.
Yeah, it was a lot. So, but yeah, James does not, he just goes, we tell him just to go sleep in the back. Like when we're all traveling together, just take a nap. Don't worry, we'll get there. Just don't worry about any of it.
And that was same thing when we went to Vegas together. James and Dustin went to go pick up a panda walker that we had to go pick up. And we called Dustin because there's like diesel fluid from the extra tank along the back mirror or the back window. We're like, hey, I can't pump it. It won't pump, but there's fluid coming out. And they're like, oh, do you need us to come get you? And I was like, it'll run out eventually. We'll be okay. So we pulled into Vegas with a very dirty trailer from all the diesel from the extra tank. But I tried to pump it out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, do you need us to come get you? I was like, when have we ever needed you to come get us? Like, honestly.
Independent women here for independence. I would be like, I need you to come get me.
We made it. We were covered in fuel, but we made it. So
it wasn't my fault.
All that matters. And you have a good story to talk about as well.
Yeah, and I would have had the other truck that I won if someone didn't put death into my diesel tank. But, there's that. It was a mistake. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I didn't put death into my diesel tank.
Oh.
Yeah, and it took like 4 months because of COVID to get all the pieces for it. Also, Christine was my insurance agent for that. And we fixed that. I only had to pay $500 to get like a whole new fuel injector system for my truck.
That would stink.
Look, if it can break, I can break it for you. I'm very good at breaking things, especially mechanical things. I can break it. I'm really good at it.
Hilarious, Remy. Hilarious.
Yeah, we've got good stories. It's a lot of stories on the road. Trying to think what else. If we helped you put on the first Vegas show, that was like
yes. Okay, so we had tried for years to get into South Point to put on that show. 4 years. My mom called every week for like 4 years straight, and they finally were like, "Oh, we have a date." And James like, "Yeah, we're gonna do it." So then we had to call on all of our friends, and there's a really good pizza place by us that's called Felipe's. So he brings everyone down to Felipe's, and he's like, "Hey guys, we need all the help we can get to put on this show." So Christine and Dustin worked our first Vegas spinning.
Oh, that's awesome. Were you there this year, Christine?
Where what?
Were you there this year?
Yeah, we went to Vegas we went. I had all my kids I'm not out doing a ton because I have to watch the kids. So we kind of had like the kids set up in the corner, with the playpens and everything, trying to keep them contained, and then riding in between runs. And it's a little stressful, but yeah, we went to that one. And yeah, and I remember that Vegas show, you had like only one, what did we have? One computer, and we had to run like 3 pens or something. Dustin
Yeah.
made Excel. Like luckily my husband is like super handy in Excel, Microsoft Excel. He literally put like a program together like on the spot as we're like taking times, and he's just entering them, and then he formatted everything to make it work like the programs that they use now.
That we now have. That we did not have then. We were running it on Arena Manager, not Sort Arena, and we ended up with like
extremely lucky to have him, Remy.
Yeah. We had 400 teams in one of the sortings, and so we had 2 announcers going. James was running one pen, and Rowdy was running the other, and
it was great.
Yeah. So you know, I told you if you're friends with me, you end up working at some point.
It is so true. It really is so true. But I'm happy to help. And like I said, even at the jackpots, when I go, Remy and I never actually sit and talk, very rarely. I usually have to go up in the booth, and then I sit there, and then in between there, it's like, hey, can you go like switch out that number in the back, and can you go do this? And then, you know, we just kind of make it work. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think Remy would either.
The working friendship.
It's a working friendship. Also, if we don't even have the chance to talk, she does not get offended because I am busy.
And I'm the same.
She sounds like she's super busy too. So
she is. So she understands it. And if anything, I end up watching her kids at our shows because I don't ride at our smaller shows like that. So I hang out with her daughters, and I take them on our playground, which Christine thinks is sketchy. So she just looks away while I take her kids on swing sets.
She's an insurance agent. That's why she thinks it's sketchy.
And she is my insurance agent. So.
My friend is the same way. She's like, you're never getting a trampoline. Those things are so dangerous. I'm like, oh, I know
they are. And then you can't get insurance if you have them. So, you know, nobody needs a trampoline. Nobody.
Yeah.
No, we're trampoline safe here. Nobody has trampoline around here.
My kids try and die anyway, so I don't need to give them another tool with which to do it.
Yeah, you don't need to be putting it out there for them.
No. But
well,
no, you go.
You go, Remy. You.
No, I know it's kind of a Mod Podge, but something that, again, going back to the relationship, so we have some sort of theme for today aside from too many irons in the fire, because that's all of us. Like you said, it's all women. Is Christine and I talk about this too. Like Christine and I talk about this a lot. As you get older, you want success for I want success for my friends, not because it does something for me, but I want them to be successful. And like Christine and I have this discussion, like where you're rooting for someone in the background to turn around and realize that that same person wasn't rooting for you. And then how do you carry that forward? Does it change how you feel about that person? Does it change how you feel about yourself? Does it change how you feel about future relationships going forward? Like for me, if I want you to do well, I just want you to do well. And that's it. You know, I don't have to get something from it. It just means I don't have to invest time into what I thought was a friendship that maybe is not.
Yeah. Remy and I are very similar in, I think, that kind of the way we view friendship, and we're super loyal people. I don't have a ton of friends. I number one, don't really have time for it. And I need friends that don't require a lot of, I guess, maintenance. So it's just kind of, I think our friendship is really, it's probably gotten stronger because of that. It's just, I know that she's always there if I need her. She knows I'm always there if I need her. If we call twice in a row, you better pick up the phone because it's something important. Because half the time it's like we're sending each other to voicemail because we're in the middle of something. But if she calls twice, I better, I need to answer because something's going on. I've had, other strong friendships in the past that, not that we're not friends now, but it's just not been something that has carried me into this part of my life. And
maybe.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like you have friends in different seasons of your life. They're not that they're not important now, or it's not that you don't want, the best for them now, but it's just not something where, they've made it this far. It's okay. I had that friendship. It was great, but it's just not something that I want now. And, I don't know. We kind of view friendship the way I do. I root really hard for my friends. I want them to succeed. I want, I want good things to happen to them, and I want them to do the same for me. And that's what I value in a friendship. So.
And it's like she had a friend that she used to work with that sent her a message one time just checking on you, right? That was like, hey, I hope you're doing good. Everything's good for me. And I think, and you said like it struck you as kind of weird then, and now you understand it. Like
Mm-hmm.
she loves you for that part of her life. It doesn't mean she doesn't care, but she got married and had kids much earlier than we did.
Yeah. I understand it now. I didn't understand it then. Sometimes you don't understand it when you're in it, but I understand it now, kind of how just, and you have kids, and it just changes a lot. Your priorities are so different. And it just really changed. Yeah, it really changed my way of thinking just about just people and friendships in general. So
when you said that about I had my kids in Vegas, it was a little stressful watching them. That is stressful. That's a different dynamic because I wholeheartedly believe that you should take your kids to horse shows and have them be around it. It's a lot easier if you do it from the beginning. But for me, even now, I have a really hard time concentrating is maybe because I'm so worried about them and not worried about them. Like my kids are old enough now, not like your kids where your kids could get really hurt or they need to be tended to and somebody needs to be giving them attention because they cannot take care of themselves when they're two. So it is hard.
The larger shows are harder, so Vegas is like one of those deals where we literally go to Vegas to support James and Remy. They're my friends. I want that show to go well for them. That is an expensive show for them to put on. And literally that is why we go. I mean, I like to go compete too, but that's a hard show for us just because of the kids. I love their jackpots down the road. It's so easy. And I know that there's always somebody there keeping an eye on them, and we can literally park our trailer right there. The arena's right there. I don't ever feel like they're out of my sight. So for us, those shows are a lot of fun. The bigger ones are a little tougher, which is kind of why we really haven't gone down the road, these last couple of years. But there's plenty of time for that. And that's been a hard, I think, thing to work through too in my head. I mean, I've gone to shows, like that's one thing that I'm just super passionate about. I love it. I love my horses. I love riding. I love doing all that. That's how my husband and I met. He's probably not as passionate about it as I am, but that was a real hard struggle, I think, too, is when I had kids and realizing that, okay, that's going to kind of go to the back burner right now. And, and I've been lucky. I have Remy who kind of, I still love to buy, young horses. I love I've always loved like a good prospect. Remy's kind of helped me with the last one that I bought, which has all stuff that I would have rather done on by myself. But luckily, she's helped me with her, and she's turned out to be a great horse. But I've had to like leave her, and then I'll bring her home. And Remy's really kind of seasoned her a little bit for me, and so I'm lucky to have a friend that's there to kind of help me do that. She knows that I can't do it.
Just to say you don't have the time to do it. So
exactly. So yeah, it's been kind of just that struggle, but I know at some point we're going to get back to it. And I really hope my girls love to do it, but if they don't, that's okay too. We'll figure it out.
No, and that's that's another conversation that, same thing. I had kids before Christine, not a long time, but I had kids before Christine. And when Christine was pregnant with Everly, she's like, I'm just going to go back into work. It'll be fine. And I was like, okay, I'm here to support you. And it's late where you are, sleepy. And I go,
running on 3 hours of sleep, Remy.
I go, I'm here to support you. We'll do whatever you want to do. But just a warning, it's not going to be the same. And she's like, I got this because I'm a bad bitch. I'm going to go back to work. It'll be fine. And I think we've talked about this in some of the depression episodes too. That's another mix of postpartum depression. Aside from that, there's an imbalance. Your whole life is not the same after you have kids. It really isn't. Because it isn't just you, and your husband isn't just you by yourself, and it isn't just you and your job. Like you have to start prioritizing things, and it takes a piece of you away. And, I think a lot of women don't talk about really what a disappointment that is, because you're supposed to love being a mom. It's supposed to be all the things that fulfill you. Well, some of us need more than that for fulfillment. And if you're honest with your friends, then you'll find the right people that support you in being honest in that truth. Like, I love my kids, but, and I really do. I think a lot of people have a lot of shame about saying that it's not always just for them. That's not all that finishes them.
Very true. It was harder for me with my second than it was my first because I felt like when I had my second, I had just gotten my
like your bearings back.
yes, and a little bit of independence again, you know, where I could go do some things. And then I had Bronson and it all got taken away again, you know? And it sounds so terrible saying it, but that is kind of how I felt. Like I had just gotten to the point where life was a little easier with Bodie, and then it was just gone again.
Yeah, my mom had my brother and I 6 years apart, and I was like, what is the matter with you? If I had one out of diapers, I would have never had another one.
Yeah, I think for me, my second one came and she just, I sometimes feel bad because I'm like, nothing in our life changed for her. Everything changed in our life for our first one. You know, everything revolved around the first one. The second one, she's just had to come along. And luckily, she's a pretty easygoing and she's tough. But there are days where I'm just like, I should have maybe just like slowed down a little bit for you, you know. But it is what it is.
That's not her personality anyway.
It's not.
Like,
she's your true second kid. She's wild. You know, she's just been completely opposite from the first one. And I think she's going to probably be out riding us all here before, as soon as she can by herself, because she doesn't want to get down. But we'll see.
The first one tricks you. Christine's like, I have her sleep trained. Everything's perfect. She's easy. So easy. And I was like, yeah.
The second one.
I'm going to support you in all of these claims.
I will say that all of my if I ever judged any of my mom friends, you know, for anything that they did with their kids, it's like it all came back on me with the second one. I should have never said anything, never judged anybody. You know, it definitely changed my train of thought with that.
Yeah, because she used to get my boys, of course, always go to the bathroom outside, and she was like, we're on the phone. She's like, I should have never judged you. I should have never judged you because Ada, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. Oh my God.
She's raising a strong, independent woman the way it sounds.
Yeah, she's a lot. I love her. She's a lot. I
love it.
Same thing, right? Like that's the other thing is I think people just always get like really caught in what they think things should be, and it's never what you think it should be. Like, I'm going to do the pureed food for my kid. Like my last two didn't even eat baby food. They just went to real food. Like they wouldn't eat it.
Right? I was feeding my kids rice in their bottles when they were a month old, and I'm pretty sure that the doctor would never recommend
mine were at 2 months. I had the rice. I did the whole old wives' tale, and then the pediatrician, they'd always tell you, that doesn't really work. And I'm like, it does work, and we're going to keep doing it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Mine were eaters, so I could never get them full enough, and that rice trick that worked for me.
No, it's but again, it's like that comes back to friendship too. Like, how do you say the things that you don't like about yourself or the dark thoughts that you have to someone else if you think they're going to judge you? And that's how I pick my friends. Like, what horrible thing can I say and you're not going to judge me for it?
And I think you and I, Remy, like we have a lot of conversations and I don't always agree with you. Like, maybe you shouldn't have done that, Remy. Like, maybe you should do this. Like, I don't know if that was the right thing to do. I don't know if I would have handled it that way.
That's a good friendship. You have a good friendship. And Remy, honestly, you wouldn't tell like only your truly closest friends. Like if it entered your mind and you thought, I'm going to get judged, they're going to judge the shit out of me if I say this, you would not say it to them. Now, Christine, on the other hand, is a good friend of yours, and you're like
and that's what I mean by like my very close friends. I have a couple of very close friends that know what a hot mess I am, so they do not judge me for any of these things. But and it's like you with your book club, right? You start to figure out who really matters in your life, and how much of yourself, like how much of your soul, can you trust with that person. And I think as you get older, you figure out you have to keep a few people around you that you can trust everything to, and not have them judge you for it, or at least judge you to your face. Christine will tell me if I fucked up. It's okay. That does not offend it, and it doesn't offend me because it doesn't come. We actually had this conversation yesterday. Like, you tell someone something, right? Like you tell someone what you want to do, what your plan is, whatever. And a friend will be like, here's my worries or doubts for you, not just about everything, just for you. This is what I believe. However, I will support you in those things. Versus the people that are like, well, here's my doubts and worries and why what you're doing is wrong. Like, I can tell you why I don't think something's right, but I'm still going to support you no matter what. And as I get older, you start to sift through those people. Like, are you just calling to be negative and tell me why I'm wrong or why I should do something the way I should do it? Or are you going to tell me that I'm wrong and then try and help me out of the mess after I make it? Because I'm also good at making messes.
Yeah, those conversations are fun. I actually had a conversation, I told Remy about this not that long ago, with somebody who I've known for a really long time. And I mean, really just was super negative about like us making our move to Texas and why would we do that? And, just all of these things.
I don't even want to hear you right now. Don't talk.
I know. And I'm like, we have our reasons. And I honestly don't need to explain them to you, but it's just be supportive. I mean, I think it's one of those things. I don't understand that. I would never, if somebody wanted to do something, I think Remy and I mean, we tend to point out things where, what's the term that you like to use? What is it? Something positive,
not toxically positive. We are not toxically positive.
Like, what is it? Cautiously optimistic.
We're cautiously optimistic. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And so we just talk through things a lot, but, I just, the people you think that are friends and then they're just super negative about things that you're trying to do, or I'm like, you just don't really know me. So we're just going to like move on from this conversation.
We're going to leave that at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't add enough to my life, why are you judging it anyway? Mm-hmm. And like, it's like, I call Christina, there's a couple other friends that I call to bounce ideas off of. And trust me, they'll tell me if I'm being a dumb bitch about it or not. Like, and I don't get offended when they tell me that. I might get mad right away, but I don't stay offended because they're not telling me just to make me feel bad. They're telling me because I'm probably making the wrong decision. And also, Christine and I like to vent to each other about our husbands, and then we don't judge said husbands when we see them the next time.
We love each other's husbands.
Yes.
So it's all good.
Speaking of that, I had a girlfriend call me this morning. We've been friends for a really long time. She's an entrepreneur. She has her own salon, and her path to get to the salon ownership was a long one where she had lots of, just a big journey and lots of obstacles that she had to go through and whatnot. It's been awesome. And she's so positive about everything, or cautiously optimistic, I should say. But she called me this morning, and she was actually out in LA last week for a big salon convention or expo. And she said, oh my God, Breck, she's like, I sat down in this room and was literally rubbing elbows with people that I want to be connecting with all the time. She's like, those are the people I want to be sitting next to every day, but we're rural Minnesota women. How am I going to get that? And she goes, so I'm just calling you to see how you do it, because you're you are an entrepreneur who works from home, and you seem to stay pretty positive or connected to people. So how are you doing it? How are you getting that connection? I'm like, well, I don't think that you have to necessarily be physically rubbing elbows with somebody, Janet. I feel like that you can listen to them. You can get the connection through listening, through things like podcast or YouTube, following the right people. I mean, the technology these days is so amazing on staying connected with the right people. We talked about it last week. I've just gotten so selfish about who I surround myself with. And selfish because I want to stay in a good headspace. And so I just don't even engage with somebody I feel like is going to bring me down a path I don't want to go down.
Yeah. And I think that, we talked about it. We talk about it a lot. Christine and I talk about it a lot, is recognizing, is someone just being negative? Or are they really trying to help you out? Right? Are they trying to temper overly optimistic goals? So, because I have like a lot of big plans and most of them don't work out, mostly because I don't follow through on a lot of things.
But we know our weaknesses, people.
Yeah, but but you have to have a friend that's like, that's a good idea, but where are you trying to go with this? Like, what are you trying to gain from this? How does this work into your bigger picture, rather than just getting fixated on one thing? And you have to have people that care enough about your well-being in general to try and help you out. And like you said, it's like you can give someone advice, because I think people get caught up. It isn't, 1996. You don't actually have to meet in person with these people. There's a lot of avenues to make new connections. And those connections, like, way leads on to way. You can make one right connection, then it leads you into a lot of other things.
Well, just like, you and Christine, you guys are besties. And that's how a lot of my besties are, and I are too. We don't actually see each other all the time, but we talk religiously. And I feel like if you're talking to the right people, there's really good things that can come out of it, like talk you off of a ledge, or maybe change your mindset into a different way of looking at something, reword whatever you were going to say.
Yes. Again, going to personalities. So Christine's husband and I are a similar personality. And James and Christine are a similar personality. So when I call her to vent, sometimes she's like, yeah, that applies. Not the exact same situation, but it applies. And now I understand how my husband feels when I do these things, and vice versa. I get it from the other way too, and it's it's good to have those friendships. But again, like I think as you get older, you really start to value how friendships affect your life, and then how those people bring you up or put you down, because there's plenty of people I've cut out of my life that didn't add value, or not even didn't add value. In fact, made it worse for me.
Well, Remy, I think that your and Christine's friendship is definitely strong enough to weather the storm of her move. And I think that you should give her clearance to sell her house.
She has. We just have to get her to change her Facebook post that it's haunted and ugly.
You know what? Someone said that was a selling point. So
yeah, it's been quite a few good friends that are kind of moving out of state and kind of doing other things. So yeah, we're gonna all figure out a way to connect. It'll all be good. So,
and maybe I'll win a lottery, and then we can just all buy a giant compound together, and none of us have to work anymore.
There you go.
Oh, you're still on the gambling thing.
I'm not. I haven't bought any more tickets. It's not high enough. Because I think it's only like $50 million.
So after you all talked about your whole lottery thing, so then I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, I'm going to get a scratcher. I'm going to get $10 worth of scratchers. I didn't win a darn thing. I'm like, this is why I don't gamble. I don't like to lose my money.
Well, Remy was hooked. I only did 1 week of Powerball. She did 2.
And when it gets over $1 billion, someone has to win it. Why can't it be me?
Well, so I think that our odds are better if we play when it's a little lower. It's still a lot of money.
I know, it's still a lot of money. But apparently there's like 19,000 lotteries in California. So there's like the daily 4 and the daily 5 and something else. But seeing that I hit no numbers. I hit no numbers 2 weeks in a row with like 20 different things. So
the lotteries probably just need to stick to our day jobs.
Yeah, I am. Frugal. The frugal wins on this for me. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Christine.
This was fun. I'm glad I had the opportunity to. So
I'm glad. You'll have to send your information for the equine insurance specifically to us, because you are licensed in so many different states, which is hard to find somebody who's licensed in that many states, and especially a fellow cowgirl. So send us your information and we'll put it up for our viewers to see. Good luck with your move and all that lies ahead with that. Sounds like it's going to be busy.
Yes, we have a busy.
Good luck with the house hunt.
Yeah, that's step number 1. We just got to find a house. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, safe travels on your business trip, Remy. Early morning.
I'll let you know if it ends up being successful. If not, I never left the state of California. That's what we're going to talk about.
I will try to document something from our road trip here. Hopefully it's an easy one and it goes fast, but I don't know how easy it can be with 6 dogs.
That's
6
your fault.
horses.
That's your fault.
I know.
6 dogs is your fault.
What can I say? I like my things, as you said earlier.
I just, She said that she said she packed a lot of clothes, and then Brandon told her, he's like, you have a lot of clothes in Arizona. You do not need to bring more clothes to Arizona.
I'm going to go to Goodwill. But thank you guys again. Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.